Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Pragmatic Spiritualism. Tim here. So we've been on this series talking about truth, and yesterday we talked about delusion, and today we're going to talk about denial. Denial is not a river in Egypt. It is often flowing right through my house, maybe a little bit in yours. So remember, I said yesterday, delusion is to know something is true, and it's not true. That's delusion, that we know something to be true that isn't. And it requires outside thinking to break through that. Denial is to know the truth and say that the truth isn't so. And one thing I would encourage you to do, because whenever I do this talk, I've asked people and they'll say things like, oh, I can think of somebody right now that applies to. And I think that's a little bit normal, but I think like initially trying to put it like, where am I in denial about who I am, how I am, what I'm doing, what I'm not doing? And starting to have a willingness to look at those things. Something first I want to say about denial is I think when we talk about this, people tend to really feel like, well, if you're in denial about something, you should just break through that. And particularly on other people, we want people to, break out of their denials like right now. But I think it's important to acknowledge that there's a timing for these things. And it's important because denial actually has a certain functionality to it. If you're in a place where you know something's going on, or you're not doing something, or somebody else is doing something, but you also know, I just don't have the time to deal with this right now. I don't have the energy to deal with it. I don't have the money to deal with it, or I just frankly don't feel like dealing with it right now. Denial has a certain way of protecting our neural integrity, our own mindset. So, I think it is important to know that like breaking through these things, it needs to have its own timing. But we also don't want to stay stuck perpetually forever where we're doing a certain behavior over and over again, or, we tell people, I'm really trying hard and everybody can see but you that you're not really trying at all, let alone trying hard. And starting to look at those things and examining, where in my life am I kidding myself about my efforts, about things that are going on that people are doing that don't serve me or aren't working for me, or might actually even be harming me, and starting to look at like, what's the truth about these things? Because remember, our goal is to get underneath all of these layers that obscure the truth to final truth, where we can have some sense of enlightenment and empowerment, where we know the truth. We are not hiding from it. We're dealing with the things and situations that we can. And if we're not, we're even acknowledging to ourselves, hey, and this is another, I just thought it's a good way to get out of delusion or denial, is to say, yes, I'm aware of that. I know this is going on. I know I need to deal with it. And I know I'm not dealing with it. And I will. Even that starts help breaking down the denial, where at least you brought it into a conscious awareness, like, hey, I know I need to deal with this and I'm going to. So remember, to get to the truth that is often buried under layers of delusion, denial, versions of the truth, or our stories about the truth, half-truths, and then eventually you start to get to some truth. So if you're looking at these things, start thinking about like, okay, where am I not being honest with myself about what's going on? Where am I denying what is obviously going on in my life? Even if you're not willing to do anything about it, if we just start to acknowledge it's going on and we know about it, then it brings it like out of the anxiety realm, where we're just, because it's kind of like it's tapping us, right? Like all the time when we're in denial, it takes up a lot of mental energy, where it's like, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? Instead of, yeah, I know, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And I'm not willing to do anything about it today, or I just can't, or I won't. Really will start to help soften those up. So I hope you have a good rest of the day. Remember, keep it pragmatic, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye for now.